second half.
Here comes Gooden gonna score the 2 and 1.
Full drive inside. Stop. Hang on a pivot. Turnaround jump shot is good.
Jordan Battle with a nice spin move. Kicks it down low. Fardaws, Big Maple with the finish.
What's up, everybody? It is Monday morning, bright and early here on the Straight Outta Whack podcast. It's Together We Soar week for the Seattle U men's and women's basketball team. I got Seattle U head coach Chris Victor here. Chris, how's your summer been so far?
It's been great. We're on quarters, so our summer's pushed a little back a little further. So we're still working out with the guys right now. We don't start school until the end of September. So we're kind of in the middle of ours, and it's been going really well. It's great to have everyone on campus. And, when the sun shines in Seattle, it's a hard place to beat. So we're having a good time out here. Nice.
Now, have you been able to get all your guys together so far? Or like you said, you don't start school till the end of September. So have you been able to work out with all the guys, or is it still kind of mix and match here right now for you?
No, we've been able to work out with all of them. We've had them all on campus, all of our new guys, and spent some time together with the whole group. So it's been fun. It's a new team, obviously, a new group, and just trying to figure out what that looks like for us this upcoming season.
We'll talk about kind of that new group, but you got quite a bit returning. I mean, Darion's off to San Diego State. You got Riley, you got Cameron Tyson back, you got Brandon Chatfield back, you got Emeka Udeni back, you've got Vaz Panja back, you've got Victor Rakovic back. Like you got a lot back this year. I mean, how excited are you that you get all of those pieces back from winning your first regular season WAC championship in program history?
Yeah, it's huge. We're returning 7 of our 9 rotational players from last season. So that's big. Obviously, losing Darion and Kyrie is also an important piece. But, yeah, we're excited to have 7 of the 9 back. I think one of the reasons we were able to be successful last season is because we had a lot of returners as well. So, last year's roster was young overall. We were one of the youngest teams in the country. And to have 7 of those 9 returning with the experience they've gained, making the championship run in the WAC, I think, hopefully we'll see a big jump from a lot of those guys. A lot of them will need to have new roles, be a little more impactful maybe than they were last season. But anytime you can have that much returning and go into a season with guys that are as familiar with the program and each other as we are this year, it's always an advantage. So we're excited about that. Last
year's team dealt with adversity, right out of the gate, a couple days before the regular season starts. I mean, talk about the growth and as you mentioned, you're one of the youngest teams in the country last year. To deal with that right before the season starts, come together, win 23 games, win a regular season title. I mean, just what was that like for you as a coach to watch that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a special season. I always go back to we were able to make that happen, I believe, because of the character we had in our locker room. It was a special group of guys a lot of returners in the locker room, so they were familiar with each other going into the season. So even though the coaching transition happened on a Sunday, our first game was on a Wednesday, the familiarity with each other in that locker room combined with the character, I think, allowed them to continue to move in the right direction. And then throughout the season, I mean, obviously this team showed great toughness, resiliency, all the characteristics that go into a team that is able to make a run like they made. When all your energy and all your focus and everyone's plans going in the same direction as a group, it kind of raises your ceiling as a team. And I think this team was special because we were able to get better game by game. We were able to get better week by week. And the focus was always on basketball. It was always on how good can this team get. And if you can do that throughout a whole season, you have a chance to have a special one, and that group did.
I know I was really high on the Redhawks before the season started. People thought maybe I was crazy, but I knew all that you guys had coming back. were you surprised by the fact that they won as many games as you did, or is that just you knew that that was probably going to happen?
No, I mean, a little bit of both. I knew this team had a chance to be pretty special. I knew that team had a lot of pieces, but it was also a very unique year, right? I mean, the coaching transition, and it really could have gone either way. So for the team to really rally around each other and stay committed to one another throughout the season, that's what kind of turned the tide a little bit for us. And then, we won that first game against Alcorn at the buzzer. That was big for our momentum moving forward, and just kept it building. This team is just tough, man. We won some really tough road games in conference last year. Had some, anytime we had a little bit of adversity through the basketball piece with a bad loss or playing tough, they responded the right way. So I just go back to that team's character and toughness and resiliency, and allowed us to continue to get better throughout the year.
Talk about the character. One of the guys you didn't have last year because he was out pretty much the entire season with an injury is Aaron Nettles. I mean, he's been in Seattle, he's been one of the leaders. He was still a vocal leader for you last year. I mean, how tough was it to not see him be able to play, but also how nice was it to have him with his leadership all season long?
Yeah, that was hard for us. I know it was really hard for Aaron. It was hard for me. I've been with Aaron since the first day he stepped on campus. When we got hired in Seattle, he was the first kid we met with. So we've been with him for a while. Him and I have become really close, obviously. And it was really hard for everyone involved in the program. He came back for that year because he wanted to end his career the right way, which ultimately he did. Even though he wasn't on the court contributing, he played a huge role for us behind the scenes in the locker room. He was with us on every road trip. He was at every practice. He became almost an extension of our coaching staff. Great energy during the game on the bench. So even though his contributions came in a different way this past season, I know he was excited that he was able to finish his career here with that championship as well.
I want to ask you about Riley Grigsby. I feel like he's been at Seattle for 10, 12 years now. He's been there a long time. But just the fact that he's back, and I mean, he's going to be probably your floor general, I guess, in a sense, because of how experienced he is. Just how nice is it to have a guy like that coming back who does everything for you and can play multiple positions all over the floor?
Yeah, it's big. Riley, you're right. He's so versatile. Not only can he score the basketball, but he's one of our best, if not our best, perimeter defender. With his size, he can guard multiple positions. And just his veteran leadership now, kind of the calmness and poise he brings to the court. It's going to be huge to have his presence for us the whole year. And he's really excited to come back. He's been working really hard this summer. So I'm excited to see how he can finish his career. He's going to leave Seattle U one of the best players in the history of this university. And the fact that he's coming back for a fifth year, it just shows what this place means to him. And he means everything to this program too. So we're excited to have him back, and I'm excited to see what he can do this last year. I think he's going to have a big year. Did
you know, before maybe the end of that semifinal game, did you know that he was thinking of coming back, or did that kind of spur him to come back because he maybe has some unfinished business after the heartbreaker, I guess, on the WAC semifinals?
Yeah, I think he was planning to come back, but that loss definitely didn't hurt that decision. I think he got a little extra motivation in Vegas that night. So yeah, I mean, I think in his mind, he was planning to spend that last year, and then he got a little extra push when we got beat when Abilene ended our season.
And you got a little 1-2 punch between him and Cameron Tyson, who's back again for another year. Both of them have the green light. I mean, talk about I guess maybe the range that both of them have, and the fact that they have a green light whenever they touch the basketball, really.
Yeah, I mean, Cam especially. I mean, you can watch. If you're not familiar with our program or familiar with Cam, and you just watch, random one game, you turn one game on, and you're watching the shots Cam shoot, you might question my coaching at that point. Like, what is this guy allowing him to do? And I understand that, but those guys have earned it. I think Cam Tyson is one of the best shooters, if not the best shooter in the country. And he's proven night in, night out that he can make shots that most people can't make. So he's allowed to take shots most people can't take. And Riley very similar. So those guys work a lot. They're in the gym all the time. Their work ethic is one of the reasons they've had success at this level. And until, they're allowed to shoot those shots because they've earned it. And it's fun. Sometimes they don't go in. They don't look great. I get that too. I understand that part of it. But yeah, I think those guys playing with freedom and confidence is a big part of their game. So we're going to continue to do that.
You talk about sometimes they don't go in, but sometimes they do. Go back to that UTRGV game down in Edinburgh. I think it was in February. Cam hit 9 3-pointers. Like, how fun was that for you to just watch shot after shot go down, especially from 3-point land? I mean, and some of them were deep too.
Yeah, that was one of those games in the season where everything seemed to click for us. And it wasn't, obviously Cam was the main guy making 9, but we shot the ball really well as a team. So yeah, when you're making shots, Kyle, the coaching gets a little easier. You look a little smarter. So yeah, that was definitely a fun one for us down there.
I want to ask you about the Cam and DeMarcus. I mean, you got brothers. One's a coach, one's a player. Do those two go after each other in practice, or is it kind of a give and take type of relationship? I mean, how fun is it to maybe watch them, I guess, compete in a sense, in practice?
Yeah, they've done a great job in that sense. But you're right. There are times when they get to that brother-brother relationship where I just kind of got to step back and let them do their thing. But overall, they've done a great job. Cam's been, last year was his first year with us, really stepped into a leadership role right away. But yeah, there are moments when you're like, okay, they need to handle this on their own. I'm going to let them do this family business. I'm going to step out of this one.
Nice. I like it. I want to ask you, Chris, about the City College of San Francisco connection. It seems like every year there's one guy that Seattle U picks up from that school. You picked up another one. I hope I don't. You're gonna have to say his first name because I don't.
Let me say it first, Kyle. Yeah, Shea. Make it easier for you.
Shea Riley, is that right?
Yep, Shea Riley. Yep.
Yeah, 6'6" forward. I mean, what's the connection there? Like, you had Darion, you had Umeka, you had Nate Robinson, you had Kyrie. It's just like there's a lot of guys that have come up to Seattle from City College of San Francisco. So I was wondering about that connection there.
Yeah, we have a close relationship with that coaching staff. A lot of us are from the Bay Area. So I grew up in the Bay Area. Alex Pribble grew up in the Bay Area. Jim Hafer was from the Bay Area. So there's a lot of people. There's another member of our staff who's close with that coaching group. So that relationship's been going back a while. And I was a junior college head coach in California for 5 years prior to coming up to the Northwest. So we've known them for a while. And, really just have been fortunate that we were able to recruit the players that we have to this program, had a lot of success. And I think, Shea was California Player of the Year, playing for them last season, won a couple state championships. And he's another guy that I expect to come in and make an impact on our program right away.
That City College of San Francisco, they win a lot. Like, I think they were 30-1 last year. Like, how nice is it to have guys that have won, at the collegiate level before come into your program with that winning attitude?
Yeah, it's huge. And they get coached. They do a great job there. Not only, obviously, they're doing something right because they're winning so many games, but you're getting a kid who understands how to win, what it takes to win. And Coach LeBlanc and his staff do a great job preparing those guys for this level.
What other newcomers, might you see that you're expecting like an immediate impact from this season? You got Portland State transfer Paris Dawson, Angela Lloyd, and Alex Schumacher. Who is there? Somebody else that sticks out that you want or you're expecting to make an immediate impact right away?
Yeah, those three guards especially. Paris, we've known since Paris plays for one of the best played for one of the best high school programs in California. Had a great career. was at Portland State for 2 years. I mean, I think he'll come in right away, and I think we're expecting him to make an impact. Also, Alex played at high level Division II basketball in the area for 3 years, won a lot of games for St. Martin's. So he's got a lot of experience in college basketball. I mean, his freshman year, he came in here and gave us 21 points his freshman year for St. Martin's. So we're firsthand knew what he's capable of doing early. And then Angelo Lloyd's a local, Seattle kid who played at JUCO, averaged 3 points a game at JUCO. So he's a big time scorer. So yeah, those three guys were looking to come in right away and play. And then we had a red shirt last year, Brody Nunn, who's an Australian point guard who redshirted last year. He'll be a freshman this year. So opportunity, obviously, in the point guard position is wide open. So yeah, those four at the guard position with Shea coming in are really excited to see what they bring.
How nice is it to have some depth at the guard position, considering that the WAC is a pretty guard-heavy league this year? Looking at all the rosters and who's coming back and who teams picked up, just that it's a really guard-heavy league this year.
Yeah, it is, with talented guards, guard-heavy at a high level of talent too. That, and also just the unique styles that you go in this conference. You can go, if you're traveling, playing Cal Baptist and Grand Canyon, travel to Texas and you're playing Abilene and Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston. I mean, and Tarleton, and just the style differences in this conference can be pretty dramatic. And having the ability to have guards, last year we played two guards together a lot because of that. And, you're right. Having depth at that position, I think, especially in this conference, is very important.
I want to ask you about your non-conference schedule. I know we've seen you play UW this year. You're going to Hawaii for Christmas. I'll get to more of the non-conference in just a minute, but how excited are you to go to Hawaii? I think you were slated to go a year or two ago. Is that right? Like something didn't click and they moved it out to this year. Is that right, if I remember right?
Yeah, COVID pushed it back a couple of years for us. But we're juiced. I mean, a week in Hawaii over the break against some big time programs. It'll be 3 nationally televised games. So great for our university, great for our conference. We're really excited about that. It's kind of the crown of the non-conference, right? We end with a week in Hawaii with a chance to get some big wins. So we're all excited about that. And the UW game for us is always big in Seattle. So yeah, those 2 events for us will be a big part of our non-conference for sure.
Any other games you might be able to mention on this podcast episode? I know you're probably still putting it together, but just
we're close. We're close. We should. I'm hoping we can announce sometime late this week or early next week or the rest of our non-conference schedule. So there's to be some other ones that we're excited about as well. It's a very, very challenging non-conference slate, I can tell you that. But yeah, we're hopefully we'll get that all done and announced here soon.
What did you think about the new seeding system that the WAC came out with a couple weeks ago, challenging schools to maybe put together a stronger non-conference slate? Like, what were your thoughts when you saw that?
Yeah, I honestly had some mixed feelings about it. I know I can see, Brian and his office are trying to get ahead of the game a little bit, trying to be innovative with that. And I understand that and respect that. And, where they're trying to bring this conference, it makes sense. The part I'm a little, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how it works out, but I do feel like it takes away a little bit of the glamour from conference games. When a game in early November can mean as much as a game in late February, non-conference to conference. When that to me, we'll see. That's the one question I have about it. But let's see how it goes this year, and then we can take a look after the season, kind of make a decision then.
Makes sense. I want to ask you about your, taking a look at the matchups for the WAC. I mean, you get California Baptist, Grand Canyon, New Mexico State, Utah Tech, and Utah Valley twice. And you also get UT Arlington, the newcomer, twice. And then your away games, for one game, you have to go to Sam Houston, Stephen F. Austin, and UTRGV. And I'm sure that you're looking at that like, why did we get stuck playing one game at those 3 places? Because they're not easy places to get to.
No, there's, being in Seattle in this conference, we're the geographical outlier. There are easier trips than others. None of them are quite easy, but yeah, I mean, that's a lot you just mentioned. And it's going to be a hell of a conference this year. It was last year. It's really trending in that direction, but there's a lot of good teams, always just so many good coaches, some tough places for us to get to. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a monster of a conference for sure.
One last question for you. I got this from a fan. They were curious about it. They wanted me to ask who you think your rival is in the conference. Since, like you mentioned, you're kind of the outlier, so there's no like geographical connection like there is in Texas or Utah or like a CBU, GCU, which is like 4 or 5 hours away. Like who do you maybe consider a true rival in this conference?
Yeah, I don't know if we have one. We've had some battles with a lot of schools and had some close games with others. I mean, I don't think we have the one true rivalry that we have. Way back in Seattle U basketball was in the WCC. I know University of Portland was our rival way back then, and a big one with obviously University of Washington. I wouldn't call them a rival, but there is that Seattle rivalry being only a couple miles away from each other. I think we have to win a game here soon to call it a rivalry. But as far as conference, I don't think we have one true rival. You got any for us? You want to start one right now? You want to pick?
You know what? I don't know if it's a true rivalry, but I mean, I was up there when Utah Valley came up 2 years ago when they beat you on the last second buzzer beater, and the battles you've had with Utah Valley, I kind of like because you won a couple years down in Orem on a last second shot. I think it was Morgan Means hit the running layup or something to win the game.
Yeah, Morgan hit it down there. I think it was Trey Woodbury had the 3-pointer to beat us by 1 up here.
So I'm a Utah Valley alum, so I guess maybe that's where I'm throwing it at because those are good battles when you guys meet. So
they have been a lot of tough games for sure. Those have been good ones. And Utah Valley's it's a hard place to win. That's one of those teams where we go into both those games knowing it's going to be a fight.
Seattle U head coach Chris Victor. Chris, appreciate you taking the time here on the Straight Outta Whack podcast with me this morning, and looking forward to another fun season. Like we said, got a lot of pieces back after running to a WAC regular season title last year, and I mean, people shouldn't sleep on the Redhawks this year.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're excited. We like our group. We're excited about this season. I just want to thank you for everything you've been doing for this conference. The exposure and the work you put in for us it's much appreciated. So thanks for having me on, Kyle. We're excited about this year, and thank you for everything you're doing for us.
You're very welcome. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your day and your week.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Outta Whack podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Whack Hoops Digest and Facebook under Whack Hoops Digest for all your Whack Hoops news and information.